Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to start with the topic the Marxist approach to the study of international relations. So, what makes the Marxist approach unconventional is its insistence on the need for change. So, unlike the realist and liberal school, it is not status quoist and stands for radical change of the existing international or world order. अब इसका मतलब देखते हैं. The conventional theories, the realist school, the liberal school, both of which, if you can recall the principal basic premises. So realist school, it base its premises on reality or the practical side of international relations, and by which it means the realist proposes that the world, the global order, it is an anarchical arena और जितने भी decisions हैं, especially regarding the state formation, about the international relation, about the bilateral or multilateral trade, all of should be viewed through the angle of such anarchy that exists on the international order. Then the states, they rely on self-help system, and then the state is the only powerful actor. So it's a proper basis which can be called status quoist, because the realist school, it justifies that order. It justifies the anarchical nature of the international relations. It justifies the powerful handedness of the state itself. And when you look at the liberal school, which proposes that the international arena, it could be governed by liberal principles such as the right to self-determine the nationalist identity and many such liberal principles. All in all, liberal principles, they seek peace and they believe in inherent capability of um, men to bring lasting orders of peace. So इसको भी अगर देखते हैं, it is also maintaining a status quo, or talking about a status quo, that whatever international status exists at a particular time, it should be left to fend for itself. And liberal school B, it talks about some changes, but it is not talking about the changes in international order. That is the central place of the state. लेकिन उसी के comparison में, if you look at the Marxist school, it wants to change that status quo. It wants to change the dynamic that exists between the classes, the conflict, the struggle that exists between classes, between the bourgeois and the proletariat. So, in contrast to realism and liberalism, Marxist, it envisions a rather uncommon view of international relations. So, whereas liberal school and the realist school, they look at the struggle for power and interdependence or complex interdependence, the Marxist school, it seeks to go to the root of the world politics by exposing a deeper underlying hidden truth. And that hidden truth that Marxists keep exposing, it is the class struggle. And all of the ideas, they base themselves to the constant struggle between the different actors of economic activities. So herein, to the Marxists, this hidden truth, it lies in the fact that all family events of world politics, like wars, treaties, international aid program, they take place within structure which are deeply influenced by existence of such system. So all in all, Marxists, they are pointing at this hidden truth in the term of the structures of global capitalist system, which again is a form of class struggle. Then let's proceed to the Marxist approach to the study of international relations. The theories of international relations in the West have for long maintained that orthodox Marxist theory, they do not contain anything that is relevant to international relations. And they also believe that even Karl Marx himself, had little to contribute to the arena of international relations. and it was true to some extent because Marx was preoccupied with the analysis of structure of national capitalism. But ये कहना गलत होगा कि he was never interested and never contributed to the study of international relations. So although Marx was primarily concerned with analyzing the structures of national capitalism and particularly the antagonistic relationship between bourgeois and the proletariat, but an international perspective was nevertheless implicit in his work, that is present in his work, which is evident in Marx's recognition that class loyalties they cut across national divisions. So according to him, जो class struggle है, it is not country specific, it is not bounded by national or ethnic lines. So if a capitalist exploiter seeking to extract as much profit as possible, so वो नहीं सोचेगा कि the person or the entity he is exploiting belongs to this ethnic section or this culture or this country. So जब the Marxist ideology में the implicit work, it is this absence of capitalist exploitation from the dilapidated structures. And other than that, exploiters they do not concern themselves about any other factor. The prime motive is to reap the dividend, to extract the profit, and which, according to Marx, is the core motive of class struggle. जैसे यहाँ पे as recognized by Marx that class loyalties they cut across national divisions, which means that two capitalists from different country they will get together easily, and this is why this ideology enabled him to proclaim at the end of the Communist Manifesto that the workers of the world they should unite. So अगर दो countries के different capitalist masters हैं या capitalist businessmen हैं, if they can get along easily, if they can unite, if they can stand together easily, cutting across national divisions, then the workers हैं, they can also unite on a singular platform. In other words, whereas liberal and realist theories hold that power is organized vertically, that is, the state is at the center, state is the controlling master, and then the rest of the organs are they are subservient or at the receiving end of the state's power. Reflecting the division of the world into independent states, Marx advocates a theory of horizontal organization which is based on international class. So एक तरफ liberal and realist schools हैं and they are confined or they are concentrated their ideas on a singular structure of their particular state. Whereas Marxism or the Marxist theory, they talk about horizontal spread of this international class dynamics. Then आगे बढ़ते हैं. So this international nature of capitalism, it was highlighted in Lenin's Imperialism, his book Imperialism, the highest stage of capitalism, in which Lenin argued that imperial expansion it reflected domestic capitalism's quest to maintain profit level through the export of surplus capital, and that this in turn brought major capitalist power into conflict with one another, and then the resulting war, especially the First World War, being essentially an imperialist war in the sense that it was fought for the control of colonies in Africa, Asia and elsewhere. So यहाँ पे जो बात हो रही है class struggle at an international level, it is of intra-class nature. So imperial domination itself, it is an intra-class affair, so much so that अगर इंडिया की बात करते हैं, you would better recall the period of colonialism. तो इंडिया में मेजर जितने भी यूरोपियन पावर्स हैं सारे के सारे they were here, and especially the Carnatic Wars between French and the British. So यहाँ पे both the merchant companies, the French company and the British company, both were the appendages of capitalist system. Yet they fought among themselves so that maximum dividends could be reaped. So यहाँ पे लेनिन के imperialism इस book के अंदर भी his argument was that the imperial expansion was an extension of the greed of domestic capitalism. So जैसे the British East India Company है, it wanted to maintain dominance over all the raw material and revenue of India. So it fought with French on many levels. इंडिया के अंदर the Carnatic Wars हैं और इसके अलावा फ्रांस के साथ दूसरी कॉलोनीज में भी there were wars of dominance. फिर हम बात करते हैं core elements of Marxist approach. So all Marxists they agree that social world must be viewed and analyzed as a totality. So all Marxists they view all the academic divisions of the social world like history, philosophy, economic, political science, sociology, जितने भी disciplines हैं as arbitrary and unhelpful. और उनका कहना है they instead insist that understanding one without knowledge of the other is not possible because the social world can only be studied as a whole. So the first element here of Marxist approach, it is to see the social world order as one, as a whole. So the need for adopting an interdisciplinary approach in any meaningful understanding of the world politics was emphasized by Marx himself in his Capital One. So this is the gist of the first principle of Marxist approach, which is in order to understand global politics, in order to understand the affairs of world politics or the study of international relations, there is a need to adopt an interdisciplinary approach. जो सारे that crisscross cross all disciplines, all subjects. Then his suggestion to this context was to start with the simplest of social relations and then to proceed to build them up into a more and more complex picture. Thus, for Marxist theories, the disciplinary boundaries that characterize the contemporary social sciences must be transcended in order to have a proper understanding of the world politics. So, meaning same here. To understand the present world politics, this disciplinary boundary of each of the division it need to be transcended. या फिर there is a need for interdisciplinary approach like political science के साथ economics and philosophy and history इन सबको integrate करके a newer subject. Then let's proceed to the second principle. Another key element of the Marxist approach is the materialist conception of history. So the central argument here is that the economic development of a society which determines the process of historical change, which means it is the economic development that served as the motor of history. In short, Marxist approach ये कहती है to study history, study it through the material lens. So if you can join or weave all the dots of all kinds of economic development that happened in the past, you are going to have a different, complete picture of history. The central dynamic that Marx identifies is the tension between the means of production, that is, land, labor, and capital, and the relations of production, the way the means of production are arranged in a given society. So, the dynamic here is tension between means of production and relations of production, and both of them together form the economic base of a given society. So again, Marx's idea is talking about the class struggle, and even in the historical studies, Marx यही कह रहा है, the Marxist approach, it says that there is a tension between the means of production, land, labor, and capital. अब these means of production, they do not produce any goods or service by themselves, and they need a producer. So the relations of production, which is the arrangement of producers. अब वो अरेंजमेंट आप आज मॉडर्न कॉर्पोरेट में आप देख सकते हैं कि the corporate hierarchy that starts with the sub managerial level, then it proceeds to middle management, and then it goes to the higher management. So ये hierarchy, it is the relations of production, and then ये hierarchy, it exists because they are means of production, land, labor, and capital. So the land, labor, and capital is exploited, or according to the Marxist theory, it is they are exploited by this scaffolding. फिर दूसरा डायनामिक जो ये क्लास स्ट्रगल है और ये जो टेंशन है, इट आल्सो एग्जिस्ट विद इन दिस हायरार्की इटसेल्फ. अब ये नहीं है कि द होल मैनेजमेंट जो भी वर्क कर रहा है एक पर्टिकुलर कॉर्पोरेट में, इट इज इम्यून फ्रॉम सच टेंशन. द various steps of this hierarchy, such as the sub-managerial level, the middle management, they are also prone to such tension. They are prone to influence and exploitation. So sub-managers, they are exploited by the middle managers. Middle managers are exploited by the higher managers. So this is the tension, this is the relation that Marx keep exposing all the time, and which can be encapsulated into this all-time catchphrase, class struggle. Then Marx argued in his contribution to the critic of political economy, the mode of production of material life conditions the social, political and intellectual life processes in general. और उसका मतलब है that economic activities हैं, they are the base of all the other activities that are concerned with human life. So a particular person, his social, political and intellectual life. So a person जो है, it could be state, because state themselves are extension of people. So what concern people is also the concern of state. So how different goods and services are produced, their modes of production, they condition various aspects of life of people in general and the state in particular. Then, according to the Marxist approach, if the economic base is changed, it will ultimately lead to change in the legal and political superstructure. So, ये इसका third element है, that the modes of production, they are like base of various aspects of life. और अगर base को change किया जाए, then the superstructure, which is legal and political in nature, जो implicitly is talking about state. So state को change करना है, then change the mode of production. Then Marxists, they attribute a very special status to class in the analysis of society. So in contrast to liberals who believe that there is an essential harmony of interest between different social groups, which is believed by liberals, Marxists hold that society is systematically prone to class conflict. So Marx, for example, argued in the Communist Manifesto, the history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggle. And in capitalist society, the main axis of conflict is between bourgeois and the proletariat. This is the fourth element of his Marxist approach. So in short, Marx's approach, it sees the whole world as an arena of class conflict. So यहाँ पे national boundary, ethnic boundary, the realist dimension, the liberal principle, none of that matter. All that matter is how the means of production, they are contributed to the material life of people, and how that material life, it is building up the legal and political superstructure. So this is it. Thank you very much.